So you've got just ahead of us there, that is the Wellington Arch. Did mention it before, it's a triumphal arch dedicated to Arthur Wellesley, the Duke of Wellington. He defeated Napoleon Bonaparte at the Battle of Waterloo and had this beautiful triumphal arch built in his honour, inspired by the arches of ancient Rome. The Arch of Titus, the Ritz Hotel, one of the most famous hotels in the world. Whenever you think of luxury hotels, you probably think of the Ritz. Opened in 1906, inspired by a man called Cesar Ritz. The word has even entered the English dictionary. It means glitz and glamour. And there's even a very famous song. If you're blue and you don't know where to go to, why don't you go where fashion sits? Britain on Ritz. Thank you. I'm here all night. So here we have the Ritz. A very strict dress code in the Ritz. So men have to wear suits, dress shirts, ties and dress shoes. Women must wear skirts or dresses and heels. They have since updated it so women can wear like blazer pantsuits. They're very modern, they're with the times. But you can't wear casual clothes, you can't wear trainers or sneakers. You can't wear sportswear, jeans, anything like that. And one day, stiff lace collars around their necks, that is called a Piccadilly. And this street became known as Piccadilly Lane, and then it was shortened to Piccadilly and the name stuck. We're going around Piccadilly Circus now, which is sort of the centre of Soho. So this all used to be hunting grounds belonging to King Henry VIII, and he'd trot along on his horse and he would shout, "Soho!" whenever he saw a deer or a boar that he wanted to kill. So Soho is just an old hunting cry. The street to our left hand side is Shaftesbury Avenue, so there'll be theatres down there. Directly ahead of us you've got Leicester Square, which is where our movie premieres take place. You've also got the Lego Store and M&M World. And we're making our way down a street called Haymarket now, which is where, surprisingly, we used to have our Haymarkets. I know, how inventive. Now we've got a lot of very fancy restaurants and bars. Tiger, here on your right, Fallow on your left. There's also a couple of theatres down here. So at the very bottom of the street, on your left hand side you can see a white. Nelson was responsible for the victory at the Battle of Trafalgar Square. Lord Admiral Horatio Nelson, which is just a fantastic name. So there we have Nelson's column right in the centre of Trafalgar Square, responsible for defeating the French at Trafalgar. Unfortunately, he did die at the Battle of Trafalgar. He was fatally shot by a French sniper and died aboard his ship, the HMS Victory. When he died, they were a very, very long way from Britain. They were all the way in the Bay of Trafalgar, which is in modern-day Spain. And they didn't want his body decomposing, so what they did was they placed his body inside a barrel of brandy. And then, all his highest-ranking officers took a drink from this barrel of brandy while Nelson was in it. It's as disgusting as it sounds. Though I guess you could say it gave the brandy England, Northern Ireland, Scotland and Wales. And the reason they are lions is because the lion is the national animal of England. We do actually have two other national animals here in the UK. In Scotland they have their national animal, the unicorn, and in Wales their national animal is the dragon. I don't know the Gaelic word for unicorn, that's a language they speak in Scotland, but I do know the Welsh word for dragon, which is draig. So you wouldn't say the Welsh dragon, you would say draig Cymraeg. And I'm basically fluent in Welsh. This is stop number 4 now, which is a stop for Whitehall. If you want to see Horse Guards Parade, the Household Cavalry is a bit further down. I recommend getting off here at this stop. If you want to see Downing Street, anything like that, this is stop number 4. Official home of a man called Rishi Sunak, who is our Prime Minister. Here on the right hand side you can see that there are 2 horses stood outside of this building here. This is the Horse Guards Parade. And these 2 people you see, they are members of the Royal Household Cavalry. As the Household Cavalry is actually the most senior ranking branch of the British Army. They are the most senior, they're the highest possible rank you can get. And these guys specifically are members of the Blues and Royals. So they're wearing a navy blue coat with the red plume on their helmet. There is another branch, it is called the Lifeguards, and they wear a red coat with a golden helmet, but they do both hold the exact same rank. So there we have Horse Guards Parade. Making our way fence building. It's known as the Iceberg Building because there are more floors below ground than above ground, and there are already 10 floors above ground, so God knows how deep the building actually goes. Here we have the MOD. Had a lot of problems with the London Eye when the London Eye first opened up, because members of the MOD claimed that spies could get on the London Eye and use their binoculars to look into the building and steal state secrets. They even took it to court, that's how serious it was. And do you want to know what a judge told them? Install curtains. Simple but effective. So we have the MOD. If you're looking for a cool pub but you don't want to go into a building, just ahead of us here is a boat. It's called Tattersall Castle. This is known as the pub on the Thames. So it was a boat. It used to ferry people between Grimsby and Hull up in the north of England over the River Humber. And I've immediately got northern. Great. So I'll be speaking with a northern accent. So it used to ferry people between the Humber up in between Yorkshire. Named the Elizabeth Tower in 2012 in honour of Queen Elizabeth II's Diamond Jubilee. Before that, it was simply just known as the Clock Tower. And Big Ben refers to the largest bell inside the tower. But we just call the whole thing Big Ben because we're very, very lazy people, and no one has the time to say Elizabeth Tower all the time. Big Ben is the bell made by a bell foundry called the Whitechapel Bell Foundry. Think of just one moment, let the siren go past. So the bell was made by the Whitechapel Bell Foundry, and they were actually the same company that made the Liberty Bell in the USA. They are all also both cracked, so I think that says something about the Bell Foundry there, don't you? So we won't hear Big Ben chime because Big Ben only ever chimes on the hour, but at past, we will be able to hear the cloister bells chime. So the ones that do the melody, the da 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 da, that fancy little tune, the tune we all know and love. So we have Big Ben. Also here on your left hand side, this building with a very large window, that there is Westminster Hall. Westminster Hall is the oldest part of the Houses of Parliament. It dates back to the 11th century. Managed to escape the fire that destroyed the rest of the Houses of Parliament, or the Palace of Westminster, as it was known then. You might recognise Westminster Hall as a place where Queen Elizabeth II's body lied in state before her funeral. So people queued up for hours on end to pay their respects to the Queen. Some people queued up for as long as 13 hours. In fact, famous footballer David Beckham queued up 15 hours to pay his respects to the Queen. The gunpowder plot. Guy Fawkes did fail. He was arrested, he was tortured at the Tower of London, and he was hung, drawn and quartered, which is a very, very brutal method to die. I won't go into too much detail. But every year on the 5th of November, we actually celebrate this failed attempt at killing the king. We have a night called Guy Fawkes Night, or Bonfire Night, one of my favourite nights of the year, personally. Making our way around Parliament Square, and there's a lot of statues, as you can see. These statues are people we call our defenders of democracy. So we have statues of people like Winston Churchill, Abraham Lincoln, Nelson Mandela, Millicent Fawcett, Mahatma Gandhi. Some really important people. They are people who have fought to instill democratic rights for people not only in the UK but throughout the empire and the English-speaking world. One of the most famous is of Winston Churchill. He's at the very end here, right at the very top of the square, facing Big Ben. Our Prime Minister during World War II. He always said whenever people wanted to make statues of him, he said that's fine, as long as you do not put me under any trees. The reason he didn't want any statues of him built under any trees is because he didn't want pigeons pooping on his head. There's also a huge rumour that his statue is electrified so that pigeons won't land on his head. That one isn't true, but I also don't want to be the one to try it, because you touch it, you're going to go flying. Modern day King's Cross Station, buried between platforms 9 and 10. And if you've ever read the Harry Potter books, this is why the Hogwarts Express leaves from platform 9 and 3/4. Because it's apparently where Boudica is buried. Here we are, stop number 6 now for South Bank, Sea Life Aquarium, Shrek's Adventure, the London Dungeons and the London Eye. This is stop number 6. Stop number 6. And before we head over, there will be a really cool photo opportunity. So behind this building here on our left, there will be a gap where you'll be able to get a photo of the London Eye framing Big Ben. And it is the only place in the city you can get. And before we head over, there will be a really cool photo opportunity. So behind this building here on our left, there will be a gap where you'll be able to get a photo of the London Eye framing Big Ben. And it is the only place in the city you can get. A couple of you will be. We are going to be heading into the city of London in a few moments. We'll make a quick stop by the Waldorf Hotel, and then we'll head into the city. The other reason I'm heading into Aldwych and making a quick stop outside of the Waldorf before heading into the city of London. A lot of theatres around here. You've got the Lion King just ahead of us. Down Strand you've got Six and Sunset Boulevard, Back to the Future the musical, and as we head into Aldwych, just ahead of us you've got Mamma Mia, the ABBA musical. We all love a bit of ABBA, don't we? Down this little side street as well, you've got Disney's Frozen and The Plane That Goes Wrong. But we're going to stop just outside of the Waldorf Hotel and Tina, the Tina Turner musical. So this will be stop number 8 if you want Covent Garden, Aldwych or the West End. This is going to be the stop for you. Stop number 8, and we do have some people coming downstairs. Simply the best. Part 1 took place. That case was not televised because we have strict laws about that here in the UK. Passing the Temple Bar here on our right hand side, this tells us that we have left the city of Westminster and we have officially entered the city of London. So welcome to London, ladies and gentlemen. You finally made it. Making our way down Fleet Street, and this used to be known as the City of Ink. A lot of our newspaper presses were based down here, but now most of them have gone. There's only one left now. It's called DC Thompson, and it's where they print the Dennis the Menace comics. Here on our left hand side, you've got a church called St Dunstan in the west. You've got a clock here, the Black Clock, one of the oldest clocks in public here in the UK, built in the 1600s. It's a two-faced clock, so we have a really fun nickname for it. We call it the politician's clock, because it is two-faced. Keep an eye out on your left as well, and above the doorway you will see a statue of a woman. That statue there is of Queen Elizabeth I, and it is the oldest statue of a person here in London. It was built in 1573, and it survived the Great Fire of London. In fact, as I said, it's the oldest statue of a person here in London, surviving the Great Fire. As we head further down Fleet Street, one thing that we are also very famous for here in London are pubs. Boy, do we love a pub. Here on your right hand side, this green pub, it's called the Tipperary, first pub outside of Ireland to sell Guinness. And here on your left, Ye Old Cheshire Cheese. This is one of the oldest pubs here in the city of London. First thing to be rebuilt after the Great Fire. So the Great Fire hit 1666, and the pub was rebuilt in 1667. Because of course, one of the first things we rebuild after a devastating fire is a pub. Hi, welcome to Ludgate Hill now, and at the very top of Ludgate Hill is St Paul's Cathedral. This is actually the 5th version of St. Paul's to be stood on this spot. The first one burnt down, the second one burnt down, the third one burnt down, and the fourth one, you guessed it, it burnt down in 1666 during the Great Fire. This version was built in the year 1710 and designed by a man called Sir Christopher Wren. He was a man who designed the majority of the churches here in the City of London. But we are going to be stopping here just outside of St. Paul's Cathedral, stop number 9. For anyone who wants St. Paul's to stay in the City of London, you can cross over Millennium Bridge and head to the Tate Modern. Here we are, stop number 9 for St. Paul's Cathedral. Falling down, London Bridge is falling down, my fair lady. But this probably isn't the bridge you're interested in. If you look there to your left hand side, you have Tower Bridge. And we will be making our way over Tower Bridge a little bit later on. Tower, and a lot of connections to the USA. This is where William Penn, founder of the state of Pennsylvania, was baptized, and where John Quincy Adams, the 6th President of the United States, was married to his wife Isabella inside that church there. Also a symbol of welcoming, because they would invite people into their houses. So pineapples are a very big feature on like Stuart and Georgian architecture. If you ever go into Knightsbridge and Kensington, a lot of our houses have pineapples outside of their buildings. And swimming in it because it's absolutely freezing. You've also got the Tate Modern here on our left hand side, and the Wibbly Wobbly Bridge that I mentioned earlier just behind us. It's the Millennium Bridge. Tate Modern, one of the most famous modern art museums in the world, one of the most popular as well. I'm your guide for the next 5 minutes. My name's Shannon and our driver is called Ish. As I mentioned, we're going to be heading towards stops 13. You'll be getting a new guide and a new driver, and then you'll be heading on towards 14, 15, 16, etc. So we're going to be heading now towards Lambeth Palace, where you'll be getting a new guide and a new driver who will always be as good as me and Ish. Almost. Not quite. So we're making our way past St Thomas's Hospital, just here on our right hand side, which honours 2 very famous women. The first is a woman called Florence Nightingale, who went to the Crimean War and helped soldiers that had been injured. She completely reinvented nursing. She's known as the mother of modern medicine, modern nursing. She implemented a lot of health and safety and hygienic practices that saved the lives of countless soldiers, and there's even a museum dedicated to a museum dedicated to Florence Nightingale here at St Thomas's Hospital. Another woman honoured here is a woman called Mary